started turning these, I think it was SWAT last year I bought, maybe 2 years ago now, I bought the hollowing tools for this. Saw Laurent Nicolat, I think is how you say it, French guy. Are you familiar with Trent Bosch? Trent Bosch Studios has a lot of hollowing stuff. Well, Laurent is his son-in-law. Laurent married his daughter, and got a little echo there. And Laurent is French. He actually learned to turn in France and then came over to the States, and evidently is staying. But he developed these little hollowing tools. And what I'd like, first of all, is this is some of the stuff I've turned. These two were not turned with the mini hollowers. These were done with a normal hollowing system. But all of these were turned with the mini hollowers. And I just wanted to show you a variety. It's a great way to practice hollow forms. What you learn doing these little ones, you can use on your bigger ones, which a lot of it is form. And thanks to Sammy, he pointed out some design changes for me as I went along that made them look better. Just little minor tweaks here and there. So to do these, I use about a 2-inch by 2-inch by a 3-inch piece of wood. It's just a lot of it was scrap. Some of it was where I was cutting out bowl blanks in the corners off a square blank you can't do anything with normally. You can cut those square. You can do them smaller, as you can see. I mean, these were just playing around, these little bitty ones here. But the tools work fantastic. A lot of guys make tools, and even Laurent said he started out with his tools, and I lost the tool already. He used Allen wrenches when he first started. Sammy, oh, there it is right there. Sammy used, this is a homemade, I'm not sure where there we go, an old file. What would you call this, a pipeline file? That he made, cut down and gets in there, a little hook on it, and it works really well for hollowing. The Allen wrenches in this, a lot of the drawback is these corners are square. They're kind of sharp, and it'll ding your edges and grind them down. And so Laurent started out with Allen wrenches, and he modified them and bent them and all kinds of stuff, and then he developed his own tools. And he has 2 different styles. He has a straight tool, which is what you really start with when you hollow. And they're round, they're very sharp. It's basically a scraper. And I'll talk about sharpening it later. But they work really well. And then he's got the hook tool, which is great for getting inside. So you can go in and get up in this area right here. So that's why I started using these. I had used some bigger tools. I'd never done anything this small. Excuse me. But I really enjoy doing them. They're fun. They're quick and easy. You can do them just plain. This one I did day before yesterday, just practicing for the demo because I hadn't turned in a while. It's just a piece of cherry. And they're really quick. You can see fairly small hole. I could probably get it even smaller if I wanted. There's actually 2 different sizes Laurent makes. He makes a 1/4 inch, and I think it's a 3/8, and I believe these are the 1/4 inch. So he's got some a little bit bigger, which will go a little bit deeper, but even this one with these tools was no problem going that deep. I could probably go a little deeper, but it does start to vibrate and make a little noise. But a lot of things, part of the reason I put these up here is you can see there's a lot of different things you can do. I did this one. This is a piece of mesquite. You can see I decided to texture it. Well, then I took and upsized that. So that's kind of where I did this one, and then I got the idea and did a bigger one. So if you want to practice, you want to try something, don't want to waste a bigger piece of wood, this works perfect. I wanted to try spiraling, so this one was spiraled on there. I had done a bigger one, but I wanted to try it on a small one. Don't like the shape on that, but the spiraling worked out pretty well. You know, this one, I wanted to try some texture and some color, some dry brushing. When Sammy was doing this at his house, and we were getting ready to do it, so I had done this, and that was carved out and then textured, and then I dry brushed it. So you can do a lot with this. It's not just hollow forms. You can practice. I did this one. I turned it. You can vary your thicknesses, and then I carved the leaves on it. Again, thanks to Sammy for teaching me how to carve. So there's a lot of different things. I've got some more. I didn't want to put this one out. I was afraid it might get knocked off, but this one was turned fairly thin, and then it was hollowed or carved with all the negative space. So this is a piece of big leaf maple, just a scrap. Again, it doesn't take much. This is another one I turned recently. It's not even finished. I didn't take the bottom off. I didn't sand it or anything, just practicing playing. One thing, and I'll get into that now before we start so I don't forget, is, well, actually, let me show you this one first. This is another one I textured and getting ready to dry brush that I was going to take to Sammy's when we were going to do the dry brushing, which unfortunately has been delayed, but we'll get to it eventually.
What do you get your wall thickness down to? 16?
On the Hollowform, or on this one, probably a little bit thicker. It was probably about a 1/4 inch. So I had room to make it 3-dimensional. I forgot to bring one that I had pierced. If you're going to pierce it all the way through, something like this would go all the way through, 3/32. You can get them pretty thin. This one was probably a 1/4 inch or so also to get the 3-dimensional there. This one's probably at least, it may even be 3/8. But I was going to take this one and dry brush it. I'd done all the texture on it, playing around with it. But one of the things you have to watch out for is make sure you know where your bottom is. Otherwise, it's very easy to make a funnel. You can see the pinhole here. I had it done. It was a nice shape. I was happy with it and parted it off a little bit too short. So, speaking of which, these are also great if you want to see how well you did when you hollowed. This one was another mistake. Again, your depth is very important. So I decided to cut this one in half and see how I had done. And you can see I got a little bit of a whoopsie in there. And this is the most difficult place to hollow, is right there. That is the hardest place to get in, whether it's on the small ones or a bigger one. For me, that is the hardest place. But if you want to see how you're doing, just take one of these small ones, and I just very carefully on the bandsaw, just ran it through, and you can see, obviously the bottom was a little bit thin. So anyway, it's good, very, very good practice. And then this one I didn't put up there because it's a little top heavy, but this is one that's black walnut, but I did a pewter inset on it. So that's beautiful, or pewter. Again, was very careful watching the bottom. I got a little deeper, so I had to make the bottom was a little bit smaller than I wanted. It sits fine, but it would tip over very easily, and I was afraid somebody would bump the lathe and knock it off. But the pewter inset's pretty nice. It's fun to play with. I've got a bowl back there for show and tell. If anybody's interested, I can explain how I did that. But then, like I said, these were bigger that I did with regular hollowing. But if you want to practice, this is a great way to do it. Yes.
Those two larger ones?
Yes.
Do you have to have the brace and all that, or did you just use the larger tool on a tool rig?
It's basically the Jamison system. It's not made by him, but it was made by someone else, a Canadian guy, and I cannot remember his name. I bought it used from another turner. But it's got the bar that goes across, the capture bar, with the other bar that goes in between, kind of a D shape, basically, but square D, or rectangle, I guess. And then I use actually Trent Bosch tools that fit into that. TrentBosch, TrentBoschTools.com. Check it out. He's got a great website. You can go on there. There's a lot of free information. There's videos. Laurent has a lot of information. I believe he even has a demo on there on how to use these tools. So my demo is a lot based on his, just because he's the one I watched twice and learned both times, learned a little bit more. Yes?
What's Laurent's last name?
Laurent Nicolat. Here, just a second, I can tell you. It is, I'll spell it for you because it's on here. No, it's not. It just says, yeah, Niclot. Nicolette, like a lot. Niclo. I do not speak French. And these were just, these small ones, was just plain. That was basically a cutoff, I think, from a pin blank, 3/4 by 3/4. So, lots of possibilities, lots of things you can do. This particular piece here, one of the workers here at the Ag Museum brought in a piece of wood that was really rotten and had been burned some, and he said, does anybody want this? And a couple of other guys turned it down. I said, sure, I'll take it. So that's what, and I have no idea what kind of wood it is, but it was very pretty. Wormholes and inclusions. Any questions before I get started? These really do not take long. My wife asked how I was going to make this demo go so long. I said, I'm just going to talk a lot. So this, I already rounded some. It's a piece of scrap. I think this is Bradford pear. If you don't turn Bradford pear, try it. It turns very nice. And it should fit in this chuck. Yeah. So even though it's got a big flat spot there, it doesn't matter because I'm not trying to make a specific size. I'm going to go ahead and face this off first. See how this makes, much worse this makes the sound. That's still working okay? More of an echo. Take out the elbow piercer there first. I'm just making this flush here, just straight across, because it'll make it easier later. Small piece, don't really need it, but I'm going to still bring the tailstock up to start. Is that better? No? Try it again. So you got your reverb all the way down. How's that? No. It's like it's picking up from another microphone, Gerald. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start shaping this. I'm going to, first of all, I'll take off that flat spot and we'll see how big a piece we end up with. So just getting it round. I'll start rounding off the front. I don't know how many of you guys use a roughing gouge much, but this actually works pretty well. Even once you get it round. A little bark there will probably end up going away. And start roughing it out down a little bit. Now I'm going to switch over to a spindle gouge. When you come around and down, I don't want to go all the way down to my final size on the bottom. They recommend you leave about a third of your diameter for stability, otherwise it'll vibrate too much. You can see how fast these little ones go, at least the shaping part. And I am not going to sand today, so you won't go home hacking and coughing so much. Another thing I learned from Laurent is if you bring this down in kind of a V shape, down in the bottom, it kind of helps you visualize where your bottom's going to be. And he had a drawing, I wish I had a copy of it to explain it, instead of just leaving it straight. If you kind of make a V, just kind of helps you visualize where your bottom's going to come down. So I'm going to fix that little ring, that mark right there. And one of the things that Sammy pointed out to me is you want to kind of try to make a continuous curve. My sides were pretty straight when I first started, and they didn't look as good. So if you can kind of do a continuous curve all the way down to the bottom, it really does make a difference. And that's where practicing with this really comes in handy. Okay. Go ahead and take the tailstock away.
Bill, are you using a fingernail gouge?
It's a spindle gouge. The grind it is what it is. It's a little bit of a fingernail with a secondary bevel, trying to prevent, which I don't do a real good job, trying to prevent the compression marks here, like this right here. So I don't know, the light may be too bright for you to see it. So I'm just going to come around here and take this off right now. Just going to make a little hole right there to start. The initial place for the drill bit, because I do drill out the center. Have any of you ever drilled a hole with your gouge, fingernail gouge, or spindle gouge? I don't do this normally. It's easier just to use a drill for me anyway, but if you come in and angle your gouge just a little bit, you can actually drill, which I'm getting off center here. With your gouge. think this is a 1/4 inch bit, I believe. Can't read it, it's slipped too many times. So what I do, try to not go through the bottom, is I'll take a piece of tape and put on here to mark where I want to stop. So probably about there. I always end up going deeper than I anticipate, so I back this off. And I just do it by hand. Keep the speed fairly slow. It's about 500 RPM. Just take it in and bring it back out to clean out the shavings. Another thing you can find on Trent's website is this is what he uses and this is what Laurent uses, is their method of hollowing. And I just printed this out this morning. If you go on the TrentBoschTools.com, and I think it was called maybe been downloads. There's 3 drawings on there. This is one of them. So this is kind of the method I try to follow. So 1 is what I just did. That's drilling your hole to the center. Then I'm going to take number 2 here, which is I'm going to take the straight tool and widen that hole out to the bottom. And then with a straight tool again, I'll do 3, try to get it down some more, and then out 4 down to here. Then I'll get the hook tool to do in here, and then 6 is the finish. So I can pass, you guys want to take a picture of it, or you can download it. I can pass it around if you want to see it. You want me to pass it, or? No? Yeah, whatever. So these tools work really well. And while I'm right here, this system right here is a robust collet system. It is fantastic because I can use this one handle and I can use both tools. So I can change them back and forth real quickly. There's no Allen wrench, there's nothing. And the system, it comes in 2 sizes. This is a smaller of it, and I think it'll go up to 1/2 inch or 5/8, and it has different collets. And it has 4 different collets that come with the system. You get this ferrule here, you get this, it goes down in about so far. So you can turn your whole handle, or you can buy it with the handle. I think it was around $105 for this, the 4 collets. And then I bought a separate collet here, just this part. So I've got 2 of the 4 collets I use on a regular basis. And if I got something smaller, different size, it works great. It's really quick, and it holds the tools really tight.
Is that the 3/16 or the 1/4 inch?
This is, I believe, 1/4 inch. Is it 3/16? Is that the other size? Yeah. Yeah, these were the 1/4 inch. And it is, like I said, it's basically a scraper. So I might as well talk about sharpening. The tools, I think for both the straight and the curve, were $95 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was $65. Again, you don't want to put them to your grinder and wear them down really quick. If you do need to sharpen them on the grinder, Laurent has a great video on that website, on the Trent Bosch website. But basically what he does, I don't have the grinder out. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'll do it right here, hopefully. No. Anyway, if this is your wheel, well, it's kind of hard to show. you basically hold it here with your fingers on the tool rest, and you just barely touch it to the wheel and bring it around at that angle. Just like go around once. There is actually a burr on there, and that's what's cutting. But you don't normally need to do that. If I do feel it's getting dull, this is a diamond card. It's 300 and 600, and I just taken, this is a 600 side, and just kind of come around at that angle just a little bit, and it'll put that burr right back on there, so you're not taking a lot of metal off, which you don't want to do, because you will wear it down eventually. You can eventually, I could regrind this flat here and start over, so you're really going to get a lot of wear out of these, because you're not going to be going that deep on this. As you saw, this is basically the extent of it for this one. So I'm going to start widening that hole now, because that drill bit was the same size as this. It's out to get me. When you first start out, and I'll show you in a minute what to do about this, I use an air compressor at home, but this hole will fill up with shavings fairly quickly, and it kind of starts grabbing the tool. Once you get it wider and start in there in like number 3, 4, or 5, you've got more space, so you don't have to get it cleaned out as often. But I'm just going to come straight in. I'm holding it flat, the tool flat. I rest my arm on here because it does get a little bit of torque sometimes, so I can use it right there. It's not going to grab as easily. So the trick is, if you don't have an air compressor, and you can use a fancy tool. This little straw, do not put the short end in. This is one of those flexible ones, and don't get right down there, because it will blow dust back in your eyes. But thanks to Mr. Long, he found these at Walmart, which is a stainless steel tool tube with a little mouthpiece. I have not tried this, so we'll see, but this looks like it'll work much better. So you can see all that coming out already. And he found these on Amazon, right? It's a pencil holder with a self-adhesive. He's got these on his lathe. It's a little loose on this, but if you want to stick a pencil there or something on your lathe, it's not going to fall off somewhere. That works great. They're just a little rubber piece.
Where's that from?
Amazon. What do they call it? Is it a pencil holder? Is that what they? I mean, it will even work with a carpenter pencil. So, and this little self-adhesive strip on the back. So, another little tip there.
Hey, Phil, when you insert your tool in there, there's a flat part. Are you keeping that perfectly level, or do you ever turn it on the edge?
I may tip it a little bit towards me, a little bit with this edge down. If you get it up, it's like a scraper. If you get it up, it's going to get real grabby. So kind of keep it level, and it cuts. This whole edge has got a burr on it here, so it cuts on the tip and the side. So, but you don't want to have it tipped away from you. Though with this small, it's not like doing the bigger Hollowforms. So I'm just going to keep widening this out. So I'm already down, there we go, down to the bottom. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but the tool jumping, that's because it's getting full of the sawdust again. Yes.
I installed an ice maker, or you got a new refrigerator and got an ice maker kit. I had a lot of extra tube left. I got that long tube, I don't have to get down there.
That would work. So one of the things, and I'll actually more when you get on the other tool, but this edge here, if you get in there and you start pushing on it, it will crack your Hollowform as you get thinner. I've been told that. I wouldn't have any personal experience with that. So you try to keep it on this side and not using that as a lever. So I'm just going to keep widening this out. If you do this with green wood, which you can, trying to blow it out with this, it's real kind of sticky. It's harder. If you have an air compressor, just fairly low, 30, 40 psi is really all it takes. I always put my hand here and blow to keep it away from coming in my face.
Ron, what do you do with your plastic hose when you're not using? I keep it down somewhere? No, I got a little cabinet right above my leg, and I just keep that kind of stuff in that cabinet.
Remember, don't inhale. It doesn't taste good.
You ever been to Slate Circle?
I have not yet. Like I said, most of what I do is with a compressor at home, so I don't have to worry about that. But this is working much better than that plastic straw. This is working great. It's a little bit longer, so it gives you a little more room, and it does work very well. All right, I'm going to go one more time here. You can see you can come in at quite an angle. I should have brought what I used to use, but these calipers are perfect for this. These are, again, Trent Bosch, Laurent designed these for this. Very high quality. They work great. So I'm just going to check and see how thin I'm getting, which I'm probably still close to ½ inch right there. Down here, about the same. It's pretty consistent, a little bit different. This will also, you can turn it around and kind of get the upper edge here, and you can see I'm fairly thin right there. So you're looking right here. So it starts thickening right there. You can see it expand out. So I'm not going to do any more here on the entry hole. And I'm actually going to switch tools now to the hook tool. The one thing about this is when you go to take it out, it's stuck. You just tap it. Just show you real quick. I don't know how many of you are familiar with collets. These are actually used in machine shops and stuff to hold tools, and it's different sizes. So all these little fingers there tighten down around that. So you've got that whole surface basically gripping that tool. And that's why you can change these, because the size, the exterior size is the same. It's the hole on the inside is larger. And I actually tried to go online and find some just collets to make my own, but I couldn't find anything with a shaft to go into the handle. That was the only problem. That's why I ended up buying these, and I'm really happy with them.
You definitely find an advantage having a longer handle than a little shorter.
If you had a shorter handle and you're gripping up here, you're gonna get a lot of, especially as you get down. To me, I like being able to rest my arm on here. And by the way, this is one of the baseball bat billets, is what I use for that handle. When you use, I don't know how many of you have or have not used these hook tools. You can get overhead, Gerald. You don't use it back here, because when it's going to torque it. You put it and rest it at least right there behind the curve, and it won't. See, I'm pushed down and it's not twisting it. You come back here and it's going to try to twist in your hand. So you move this back out a little bit to make sure that you're behind that. As I get further in, I can move it closer so that it's staying more support. But to come in initially, I want to make sure I'm not on that part. Also, make sure when you come in, and I'm about center on this, by the way, as far as height in the hole here. When you come in, you have to go around. And don't forget, because I've broken a couple of them, just lose focus, and you start to come out, and it'll catch. And I actually had it twist in my hand, the tool, and I have to hit the stop, but it'll crack it out, break it real quick. So just remember, once you get down in there further, you can come in and then start the lathe. But when you're first starting, since I'm trying to get right under there, I come in as I go. It does get your attention when it does that. This one does chatter a little more and make more noise. Once you've done a lot of these and get more experience, way more than I have, you can tell your thickness somewhat by the sound as you're hollowing. You can tell when you're getting thin. So let's see how we're doing now. That's about 3/16 maybe, then right there a little bit thicker, and still thick right there, at least a 1/4 inch, so I need to go a little bit more there. And that's pretty much where I stopped, was right in there. When you do use these, make sure you kind of wiggle them around. You want to make sure that you're parallel in there. So actually I'm a little thinner than what I thought. Because if you're on this edge here, it can make it look like it's real thick if you're not touching on the inside. So make sure you're touching on the inside there. So really that's pretty good right there. Even a little bit thinner there, because I was not where I thought I was. Now, Laurent can tell how thick it is. He blows on there like a whistle across the top. I've tried and tried, couldn't get it to do it. I actually gave one to Sammy to try it, and he couldn't get it to whistle either. And then realized, and I don't know where it went, it was this one with a hole in the bottom. Whoops, that's not going to whistle. But Laurent can tell by the tone of it when he does it whether it's right or not. And it's whether a higher pitch or a lower pitch. He has done so many of these, but so he does it when it's still on the lathe. I don't know if I can do that. No. See, it doesn't work for me. So, I'm sorry? I thought. French thing? It must be, yeah. All right, now where was I? I forgot. Okay, that's probably thin enough, so I need to start down in the bottom here now. You can also look in there, and you can use a flashlight. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys will be able to see this, and look in there and see how smooth it is, but I don't know that you can see. That's way too bright. Here. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see in there. But I also, another homemade tool, a little battery holder with a little LED and a piece of electrical wire, callus wire and copper wire, which I like to use because it'll get down in there and I can really see down in there. The only thing with this one is the
Do that again. I got it kind of shot. Can't really see much, but it's in the light.
yeah.
Shut it back down.
The well, I got to unplug it to turn it off. The wires right here are real thin, so I got to be careful with it. But I can pass this around. You guys can try it. That's the one with the hole in the bottom, Gary. You can. That works pretty good. It works good on the larger ones too.
I got a flex-on flashlight.
Yeah, it's too cheap to buy them.
Got some much stuff that needs to be cleaned off.
Does it? Yeah. Well, I can come in from the bottom on that one.
A little bit rough. Get some sandpaper and it'll come right out.
Thank you, Gary.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah. I'm going to switch back to the straight tool and see if I can get this section right in here now. I already had the switch with a little button battery and LEDs, so I've made that. But Gerald's right. You can go on Amazon and Google flexible neck flashlight, and they've got them for like 20 bucks or something. That one, like I said, I already had everything, so why not try it? And it works pretty good. And that's heat shrink tubing over there, over the electrical wire and the wires for the LED. So I'm going to see if I can get this now coming in here.
What are you doing to feel the bottom?
To feel the bottom, I can go in and I can feel it when it hits and stop.
Drill in with a drill bit.
Yeah. Where the drill bit stopped, I can feel it. You can see as you get more of it hollowed out, you don't have to blow it out as often. You can see how much more is coming out. See how that looks. Well, it looks pretty good in there. Let's see how my thickness is. A little bit thinner right there, I think. You want to leave the bottom of these a little bit thicker. You don't want to go as thin on the bottom as you do on the top because you want a little weight on the bottom. That one will I have the pewter on the Hollowform here. That was one of the things, like I said, I went too deep, so it's thinner and narrower bottom, so it will tip pretty easy. A little bit thick right there. You can see it gets narrower. And then it starts widening out again, which is fine because I'm almost to the bottom. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to see if I can get a little bit right there and maybe a little bit right in the bottom. So the straight tool is used way more than the curved. And Gary, you were asking how to feel the bottom. I can feel it on the tool. I can feel the tool vibrating as I hit it. You could put tape on. He said something about blue tape on there. You could put blue tape on there to stop. But I'll show you in just a minute how I check the bottom.
Phil, with those print box tools, do you find turning at faster speed cuts better?
I'm turning 1250. I tend to turn a little faster than some people. It's what you're comfortable with. But it seemed to cut good at that speed, somewhere around 1200. That looks pretty consistent. Maybe a little bit of a catch in there. So I may have a little bit of a area I need to go back and smooth out. Yeah, I can see a ridge in there. So what I'll do is I'll probably be easier with the hook tool. Just to get in that corner. Not that anybody's really going to be looking in there. If you... Yeah, pass out the flashlight to go with it. If you notice, this one's painted black inside. There is a reason for that. It wasn't as smooth as I'd like, but it'll also look good with the design and everything. So, you know, you can do that if you want. You can paint them. But then again, watch when you come in. Curve it around. And I'm just very lightly rubbing it in there. And bring it back out around. Now my lathe at home, I've got a movable switch. I can put it over here and I can just bump it with my leg and turn it off and then pull it out instead of trying to hold the tool and everything. So that is probably good enough. This flashlight actually works in here, works pretty good, but being able to get the light source inside does seem to help. A little easier to see. There's a switch on there, Chief. I'm going to use, you can leave it on. All right. But yeah, I can actually get that in there. Yeah, it'll stay on. So those wires are very thin. That looks pretty good. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I don't need a two-piece Hollowform. Again, or funnel. And another very fancy homemade tool. I was wanting to check the depth one day and I had a piece of dowel on a scrap and it's not even square or anything, but it works. So I can come in here, push that up there, and I can see where my bottom is, which is right there. So that means I want to come down about right here for the bottom. There we go. So there's the bottom. I'm going to come down, leave it about a quarter, maybe a little bit less. So I'll take this down now and then finish that curve. Any other questions?
You always turn brown wood,
You can do it green. Like I said, yeah. If you do it, if you can do it, which these are quick, you can do it all in one turning instead of waiting, and then let them take it. And if you keep a consistent wall thickness and everything, it should not crack. The only harder part is, especially if you're using a straw, is blowing out the shavings. They get real sticky because of the moisture in there. But most of these small pieces dry really quick. So I'm going to take this down now, and then I'll check my depth again before I cut it off. So what I'm doing now is just blending in where I had that V right here. I'm going to blend that in to the rest of it. Of course, if I was at home, I would sand this, but again, I don't want to make a lot of dust in here. So there's my depth gauge. So I am, all right, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I thought it went all the way through. So there is my bottom. I'm going to come down and right about there, and that's where I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to start my parting cut. Now, one thing, this I learned from Steve Johnson, actually, if you come in underneath with your parting tool and then come up, it doesn't seem to splinter the wood as bad as if you go straight in or come from the top down. So I've tried that and it seems to work pretty good. Come in underneath it and then up. And I'm going in towards the bottom to make sure it's concave. And I have a little bit of a ridge right there. I'm going to see if I can get that out before I take it any thinner. And I'm also going to round that a little bit more. Trying to get that continuous curve on this. And then right at the bottom, I'm going to try to get a little bit more right there. So it looks like it gives a little bit of a lift to it when it's sitting on the table. So I'm going to go ahead and part it off. I'm going to stop right there and use a saw. I could part it all the way off, but sometimes it tears the fibers and it's easier for me to sand that or grind it down later than it is to try to part it all the way off. You guys use a saw to cut yours off when you get down like that? I started out, originally I was coming from the top and I'd go through and I'd come down and hit the lathe bed. Herman showed me, and I don't know, I didn't think of this, but come up from the bottom and you don't have that problem. So that's what's great about this club. You learn something every time. So I would take it home, I would take that off, but I'll go ahead and pass that around. So since I've got a little bit of wood there, I think I'll make another one, just for fun. See what I can do here, how much of a mess I can make. Yep, dulled that tool. A little bit high. Again, I like doing these just because it's fun to play around, and it is good practice. It's great to improve your skills. You can practice your cuts, practice your hollowing, your form. I'm not going to really be able to make the V in the bottom there this time.
Bill, didn't he use those tools without a handle in the demo that he did?
I don't think so. He may have. It would be a little harder to control. It's not so bad. I mean, the handle works well, but I think you don't have a lot to hold. Going straight in maybe, but I would want a little more to hold on to.
I wouldn't either, but I was thinking he did.
I don't recall that.
You could just stop there and say it's hollow.
True. It is. You don't hollow a lot doing this, but you can actually come in here. Like you said, these don't dull that quick, and just if you need to, you can use a card to sharpen them. Felt that one through the floor. Let's see how deep this goes. Well, it's going to be right at the bottom. May have another funnel here. Let's see if I can take a little bit more off here.
Move it a little bit out of the cup.
You'd be off center. And I didn't have a very big tenon to start with. Yep, did that again. Let's see. A little high. Don't lose it. I didn't measure the thick wall thickness or anything, just playing with it. So if you would like, would anybody like to come up and try the tools? Anybody? No? Okay, well, come on, Chief. I'll put another one in here. Let me get it rounded out and everything first. It's still early. I think Vicky left.
Hey, Phil, how are you gonna sand that little nub off down
With my power grind, my little motor tool. Well, I mean, it's up to you guys. You want to do it or not?
Anybody else? They didn't come see me do it. They didn't come.
Yeah. Well, just,
Do the outside.
yeah, I was just going to turn this real quick. Is there any other questions about this? More Bradford pears. You can see it just turns really nice. I didn't even check to see my depth there. That's okay. Got a hole a little bit off center, so I'm going to move this, straighten this a little bit. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
May have to adjust that.
I mean, dude, I'm just gonna do this a minute.
Okay. So, just to kind of hold it straight, try it fairly level. Yeah, on or off, you never.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
You feel it cutting. You want to try the hook one?
Yeah. Okay.
Move this back.
Oh, yeah, you gotta get on the straight line.
So, yeah, a little bit more. So just kind of bring it in. Again, I do it that way. And just kind of curve it around.
Try not to enlarge the hole.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your design, if you want a larger one or not. Twist it, yeah, there we go. It cuts like crazy, doesn't it? All right.
Anybody else? Somebody else ought to try this. Go ahead. Come on.
All right. Have the shield there. I'm Phil.
Ian,
Nice to meet you, Ian.
nice to meet you as well.
You may have to adjust that. Is that good?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing we always use. So you want to go straight or you want the hook?
What has been done to it already?
It's just been a little bit widened, not much. It was just for him to try it. Here, let's start with this.
Let's start with the straight one.
And bring this back up. We're about center here. Yeah, a little bit low.
Are you lining, where are you lining, like, the actual cutting part of the chisel with the piece?
It's about center line.
Okay.
And you're
Like, top of it with the center line, or just, like, the whole thing?
this edge.
Okay.
And then you're gonna come in and come a little bit on the side, and you know you're not gonna mess it up. It's just scrap wood.
Yeah. We'll see what I can do.
So just kind of hold it a little bit level, or basically level. Yep. And then go in.
And you normally go, like, in like that, and then over.
Yeah. There you go. And you can cut. Thank you. Okay. I thought I got two.
You know, for demo and y'all have.
Bring your handle down a little bit.
Like that? Okay.
And you can cut. You can take it all the way down to the center. Just go straight in.
Go straight in.
Just all keep going. You'll feel it bottom out. Okay. Actually, pull that. And you can cut on the way out too. So you can cut as you pull it out. Just angle it a little bit as you pull out. So yeah, just like that. Just like that. Keep coming out with angle there, and it'll cut it. So they cut either way,
Okay.
going in or out. So
How are you holding it on the front?
What I do is, I pretty much, it really depends. I mean, I prefer overhand is the way I do it. But you see, I think it's got a little too much sawdust in there now. Let me